Hey, what's up, world? I'm Dominic Santana. I co-starred in All Eyez On Me as Suge Knight. Um, I just wanted to real quick, first of all, let me say I want to give a huge shout out and a huge thank you to all of the fans and supporters of All Eyez On Me and everyone that hit those theaters to represent Tupac and show a lot of love, and all of the great feedback that myself and others have been getting about the job we did, and just how people are in love with the film. Now, on the flip side of that, I know there's some people that they didn't like the way it wasn't the way they would have done it, or didn't like certain elements or whatever. All of any of that nonsense. It is what it is. I'm not the type of man to get into all the he say, she say, and all the naysaying and all the extra stuff. But I've sat back. I've been quiet. I usually, certain things happen. I'm the type to just, kind of ignore it and let it blow away on its own. But one thing, concerning this movie is some of the naysaying I've seen happening, and I'm not even really talking about just the average fan, but more so celebrity-wise. It hasn't been a whole lot, and we all know who I'm talking about. It's just a handful of a few that have seemed to have, taken this moment to go on a controversial tour on the radio or TV shows or whatever, social media, whatever. And I'm not going to get all deep into it because some of the stuff really ain't even my place to address it. I did want to say something at this point, just because of seeing it go on for so long, and it's really kind of started to bother me, and it's not my place to address all things concerning this film, especially all the back office stuff or the things that happen, take place out of sight from the public. But I wasn't involved as long as some people were, but I dedicated about a year and a half of my life to this, and so I think I deserve at least to say a little something, when I see something that doesn't sit well with me. So I'm not going to get into bashing anybody, because that's not what I do. I feel strongly, I'm very highly against, bashing our brothers and sisters, especially in this business, because, if you're in this business, you know what it takes to get a film made and to overcome multiple obstacles to see that film get released and see the light of day. Some of the people naysaying, one was involved with the film, then at one point was no longer involved in the film because of creative differences, and the people over this film were very adamant about protecting the integrity of this film. Now, where those creative differences came in, that's really neither here or there for me, because I wasn't involved in that process and that portion of the process, so I can't really speak on it. But and I'm speaking on that particular one. I'm speaking on John Singleton. I'm not participating in, as some interviewers and others have tried to get me to participate in bashing my brother, and I'm not going to do that. John had his personal issues with some people involved in the filmmaking process, and they dealt with their issues the way they dealt with the issues. Do I think it's healthy to bash the film? And anybody knows that when you're making a film process, there's more than one or two people involved. There's a lot of us involved. You're talking about some films there can be anywhere from 200 to 1,000 people involved in the making of the film, to post-production, to releasing the film, etc. So it's a lot of people's livelihoods and a lot of people's heart and soul poured into something that when you speak out negative about it, or you just go on a tirade and continue to bash, you know, this is what you're bashing. You're bashing a large group of people. And it's not productive. It's not conducive. It's not productive. Nothing good comes from it. All it does at the end of the day is make it harder for the next ones who want to come up and make a film. And, you know, you got the powers that be that cut the checks for budgets and everything else sitting back going, now remember on the last one, you know, they'll bash their own people's films. You know, well, let's make one about a rock star. At least we know if people don't like it, they're not gonna go on radio tours bashing it, you know. So, you know, I've been a fan of John Singleton's work for years. I've watched every movie he's done, you know, the TV shows, etc. You know, so I'm not gonna sit back all of a sudden and act like, you know, I haven't watched, you know, his projects for years or been a supporter for years. You know, I just think there's a more constructive way for our people to deal with each other and issues that we have. That's all, you know. Another one we know of is Jada Pinkett. A lot of interviewers, especially now more than ever, because she continues to speak out against the film. And so, of course, being one of the co-stars of the film, you know, every damn interview I do, you know, somebody wants to know about my thoughts on Jada Pinkett. So here are my thoughts on Jada Pinkett Smith. I've been a long-time fan of Jada Pinkett Smith's work also. You know, my favorite is when she was Miss Peaches. But I've been a fan of her work and a fan of her, you know, since A Different World, you know. So it's like, come on, I'm not, you know, she disagrees with something in the film, okay, but you're not going to get me to come out and start bashing her and all that when I've spent so many years being a fan of hers. And, you know, loving all her work. I'm still going to support her work. I'm going to go see Girls Trip, you know, and sit back and laugh and enjoy the movie like everybody else and anything else. You know what I mean? I'm not going to bash her. I don't have anything negative to say about Jada Pinkett Smith. Hell, I've been a fan of her whole family's work. I listened to, you know, Willow's song when she dropped the song. I saw Karate Kid. I had my son watch Karate Kid, you know, with Jaden. And, you know, I've seen every Will Smith movie. So, you know, I'm a huge fan of Will Smith as well. So, you know, I respect and admire her and her whole family. So it's hard in these kind of situations when, you know, you got nothing but love for somebody, and then, you know, something that you poured your heart and soul into, and that you know beyond a shadow of a doubt others involved longer than you poured in way more heart and soul into, you know, over a decade. You know, it's hard to sit back and watch that happen. It's hard to sit back and listen, and people send you links to, you know, videos of interviews and stuff, and like, man, look what she's saying now. You know, look what she's saying now. You know, so, you know, again, on that aspect, I think there's a more constructive, less damaging to black filmmakers as a whole way to handle it. You know, it just is what it is. And seeing some of the comments and some of the things people put on social media about it and this and that, it lets me know people really just do not have a clue. The average person just does not have a clue how the filmmaking process works and how film comes into fruition. You know, it's not as easy as, I got an idea and I'm gonna take it to a studio, they're gonna give me $40 million and we're gonna film it, and then, you know, a distributor is just gonna jump on board and then put it out with no problem. No, that ain't how it happens. All right. Just to keep it real short, you know, you go through this process and you put out if you're lucky, a film company wants to get behind you, or you have investors that want to get behind you, and that takes time and a lot of stress in itself. And then, you know, getting the film shot is a lot of stress in itself, and then getting it post-production and edited is stress in itself, and then hoping to get the right distributor, and then they don't just release it, then you got to fight for how many theaters you can get released into. And you got to fight for it because the distributor comes in and they want to cut things in the edit. They want you to take things out, put things in, you know. So it's a really, really tough and grueling process. And it's a lot of hands that your passion project has to go through, and that some things you may have to concede on just to see it come to light. You know, so to watch that get bashed is, it's disheartening. It's disheartening, especially there's people can make phone calls. There's, all different types of other ways to handle it that don't hurt this particular film and the future, of other people going to try to make similar films. It just makes it harder for us, and you know what I mean when I say us, it makes it harder. And it serves no real purpose. The day the movie dropped, it was the first time things were said, from Miss Pinkett Smith. And, me personally, I felt like, if you didn't want to hurt the movie, that 2 weeks, you could have waited a week even, or 2 weeks, and then said, hey, this is what I didn't like, or this is what I didn't agree with, and that would have been that, but on the flip side, I also understand that, she really knew Tupac. She had a history with Tupac. So, who am I or anybody to come and say, how she can or can't feel about, something she's seen regarding their story. So it's not my place. I can't. No one can, really. But, again, on the flip side, because of what it takes to get to this point, there's just, in my opinion, I'm not speaking for anybody else, I'm speaking for myself. In my opinion, there's way more beneficial and constructive ways that we can go about these kinds of things. We don't show the family fighting, you know what I mean? Again, one of the things that I didn't like that I've heard said from, multiple people was trying to make it out that this movie was, some money grab or something like that. Let me give you a prime example for those of y'all that don't understand the movie business and how things work. A money grab would have been releasing this movie in August, like these types of movies are normally released in, or in the fall. Do you know why movies that are under $100 million budget are not released in June and July? They're released in the fall generally because in June and July, those are your blockbuster movie months. That means all your mega movies, your franchise movies, Marvel movies, everything with $200+ million budget drops around that time, and they battle each other for the top spots and for everyone's dollar. Okay? The reason why All Eyez On Me was dropped right in the middle of that on June 16th was to honor Tupac's birthday, was to release Tupac's biopic on his birthday. It was his day. It was to honor him. All right? So when some of y'all out there running your mouths about things that you don't really know of, they would have made more money in the box office releasing it in August, like Straight Outta Compton, or like, other movies that stay clear away. Other movies like our movie that had like a $40-something million budget. They stay clear of June and July because everyone knows those are monster movie months. If your movie is not a monster budget, you stay the hell out of that fight, because it's a huge fight that you might not be equipped for. But our movie was like, David and Goliath. It was a little guy out there fighting amongst giants, and we still debuted at number 3 with the controversy and with everything else. All Eyez On Me still had a number 3 spot in the opening week. All right, in the midst of going against the rest of Wonder Woman, that was breaking records and making history. I think it's still in theaters. And Cars 3, an established franchise. And both of these movies, the whole family could go to. You could take the kids and everything. All Eyez On Me was rated R. You could not take the kids. So we already lost half there. We had half the theaters of these mega movies that we released in, and still fought to the number 3 position. If we would have been dropped in August, we would have easily went number 1, but that would have been just about the money. Hell, they could have released an extended trailer on Tupac's birthday and let that be that and go for the money. But they didn't. It was from the heart. They wanted to honor Tupac, so they ate it, knowing they were going to lose a little bit of money, but go ahead and release on Tupac's birthday to honor him. All right? Now, don't get it twisted. This movie business is a business. That's why it's called the film business or the movie business or the entertainment business. Don't get it twisted. When people put out money, especially millions of dollars for something, they want it back. They want to recoup that money. Anybody with a smart business mind wants to recoup their investment. All right. So, and when those people invest in something, you know, they want to see it. They want to have their opinion about some of the things or how entertaining it is or isn't. You know, otherwise you just make a documentary, put everything exactly as is, throw it in, you know, on Netflix or something, or on DVD, and hope people go see it. You know, but when you're doing a biopic, let me tell you something. Everybody, okay, everybody in film knows this. Especially some of these people who have been in film business for years. There is not one, I promise you, there is not one biopic ever made that every single detail in that biopic, that movie, was exactly as it happened in real life, okay? There's some things in tight spaces when you're trying to film that you just can't film it a certain way, so you have to change the aesthetics a little bit. Or, you know, not the truth. I ain't saying change the truth of the situation. I'm saying change how it's shown of how it happened to make it work and make it fit, because in real life there ain't no cameras. You just living and, you know, going about your life. So you don't have to worry about angles and, you know, focusing and measurements and, you know, spacing and all that stuff. But in film you do. You have to measure every shot. You have to focus every shot. You have to light every shot. You know what I mean? So sometimes, yes, things have to be changed or rearranged a little bit using the truth, but still rearranged a little bit to make it work. You know? Now, why All Eyez on Me is being singled out like this has never happened before, I don't know. You know, Miss Pinkett knows. She played one of Ali's wives. I think one of the first wife or one of the earlier wives of Ali in the movie. And, you know, I, as a huge fan of Ali and a studier of Ali, you know, even I know that there were aspects in his story that were changed to fit the narrative a little better, you know, from reality, from what it really was, you know. And it was very accurate, but there were some things changed, and I'm sure it was because of how it had to be filmed or what the scenario was, or you know, for dramatic effect, whatever. I don't know. There's reasons for all of this stuff in these movies. So, you know, why people act like this is something, you know, that's never been done. This wasn't a documentary. It was a biopic. It was a movie. It had to not only educate you about Tupac, but also entertain you and make it worth your money, or keep people in seats, you know, entertaining. Anybody that's seen this movie, that movie's over 2 hours, and nobody has felt like it was, you know, even that long, because it just constantly gives it to you, you know, the whole time. So, you know, and I saw a video some dude posted up. Somebody sent me a link to this video. This dude made a whole 20-minute video saying that I took shots at 50 Cent, and, you know, he had a bunch of, like, you know, different little things to say about me, and, you know, I must have fell and bumped my head and all that, and do I know how real 50 is and all the other stuff. You know, I don't know. I don't personally know 50 Cent, you know, so, you know, I know what I've heard about him. I know these things. I know I've been you know, getting his albums and been a fan of his. I'm watching the hell out of Power. I know that much, you know, but all I did was I took a meme somebody had posted on their page that was funny, and I posted it on my page. And from there, all of a sudden, I'm taking shots at 50 Cent. I never took a shot at 50 Cent. I don't have any beef with 50 Cent. 50 said what he had to say about the movie. He's got a personal issue with, you know, one of the filmmakers. You know, that's neither here or there. You know, which, you know, that's Fifth. It's what Fifth does. You know, this is nothing new. You know what I mean? So, you know, y'all not about to have me out there bashing that man and trying to cause some imaginary beef and issues. I ain't fallen, bumped my head. You know, you don't know me either. You know, I'm talking about the dude that made the video acting like I'm crazy or something. You know, you don't know my past. You don't know the things I've been through. You don't know how much I had to work to change my life, to be somebody positive and not be some crazy ass Negro out there in the street bashing heads or doing whatever. You know, so, you know, no. Am I worried about it? No, because I ain't taking no shots at nobody. You know, if I take a shot, I'm a man. I'm a real man. Like, if I take a shot at somebody, it's going to be direct and it's going to be clear. You know, but, you know, I'm not out here trying to bash my fellow brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? That's not what I'm about. That's not what I want to see happen. That ain't productive for them or me. You know, so I'm not even trying to get caught up in all that Hollywood mess, the constant controversy and, well, what are you going to say about this person? And they said this and that. Hey, man, ain't nobody came out their mouth and said Dominic Santana is this or that. So I don't have any negativity to direct at any of them. I wish them all success, just like we trying to get success. I wish them success, Controversy is not always a good tool to promote anything. We've gotten to this point in society where, we think negativity is what draws in the eyes, what draws in the attention, and people got to be smarter. You got to look deeper when people are doing certain things and go, okay, what is this really about? What is this really attached to? People now just take things at face value, and it's like, oh, they start bashing somebody with them, and they don't really look and be like, okay, what is this really linked to? How does this person benefit from all this attention from the controversy? So I'm not saying anybody has hidden agendas or something like that. All I'm telling you is think for yourself. Open your mind for yourself. If you feel a certain way about a movie, you have the right. It's your opinion. But go see the movie and then form an opinion. And then be like, I don't understand what y'all are saying, or hey, I agree, I saw the movie myself and I agree with what they're saying, etc., and then move on. But to continually just bash and bash and bash and bash and not let up, just remember, people are looking, man. People are looking, and people feel a certain way about that kind of stuff. And you don't want that happening on none of your projects. You don't want people doing that to your stuff just because they disagree with you or something you did. So we just got to be more conscious and show more love and, less hate, or, have private conversations like, hey, I just want you to know that this is how I felt about that, and, give other people on the other side a chance to apologize and say, I'm sorry you feel that way. It wasn't intended to make you feel that way, and furthermore, man, just, the trolls on the internet, man, y'all keep doing y'all job, man, because that's all you're good for. That's all you do. That's what you're here to do, I guess, is be social media trolls and shit. So, I ain't got nothing to say about that. People are going to be trolls regardless with fake pages and all that extra stuff. So, I don't feel no type of way about that. But, much love to everybody. More peace, more love, more understanding, Let's work together. Let's do things. Let's rise together. We're not always going to agree on everything, but let's rise together. And lastly, one of the whole main purposes, like I said, nobody asked me to do this. Matter of fact, was asked not to, early on was asked not to really engage in this stuff here. But my ultimate point on this was, what made me speak up was because of knowing what LT Hutton went through to see this thing through, and all the people he had to battle and all the obstacles he had to face, and just the journey. I wasn't even there for most of his journey on this. He worked on this for 10 years. I was only on it. I've been dealing with this movie for like a year and a half, so I don't have even, a tenth invested what he has invested in this movie. And that's a decade of somebody's life, you trying to cut the legs from under when you out bashing and stuff, so that's the only thing that was bothering me, because, all these other people, I don't personally know them, but LT, I know from working with him. I've, gotten to develop a friendship with him and whatnot. And, I watched that man work from morning till night. When I was getting the set at, 6 a.m. call times, LT's already there working. When I work my 8-9 hours and then I'm cutting for the day, I'm done, LT is still there working. One of the first to show up, one of the last to leave. That's rare. You don't see a lot of producers that's so involved. He could have been like, okay, I got it to this point, and then chill back and said, hey, you guys, all right, handle it. Nah, he stayed on it from beginning to end. And when I say end, I don't mean the end of shooting. I mean, we shot for half a year, and then there was more months of post-production. You know what I mean? And he was there every single step of the way. Like when I say this man put in that work, he put in that work. That's a whole different type of producer. And I've been in business 10 years. I work with a lot of producers and directors. That's rare. That right there that I've seen is rare. And that's why it bothers me. I had to say something, because it bothers me to see people, that have tried to go out of their way to try to cut the legs from under this movie. And the movie is a success. The movie is exceeded, expectations of what critics were saying and everything. The movie was a success. Let it breathe. Let it be, man. Let people celebrate and enjoy their moment, you know. Much respect to LT. He put his heart and soul into it. He released the movie on Pac's birthday. He could have waited and made way more money releasing it in August when all the mega movies was gone out of the box office, but he didn't. He fought to have it released on Pac's birthday to honor Tupac Shakur. And that's exactly what happened. The movie came out on his birthday, honored him, regardless of what any distributor wanted to do, regardless of what any film company wanted to do. LT made sure that joint came out on Pac's birthday in the middle of mega blockbuster season, which films our size never do because they know better. You're going to lose money if you go to battle against those giants. And we still, with half the theaters and a fourth of their budget, still came in number 3 against them. So that's a huge success. And a lot of people, so much controversy going on, people don't even have time to realize the strides this movie made, the accomplishments this movie really made. It's huge. It's huge. It's huge for film. It's huge for black film. It's huge for hip-hop culture. It's huge for our stories. And people got to understand that. Stop getting caught up in all the controversy and the negativity. There's reasons for that. People have their reasons for why they do these things. But pay attention to the real, the accomplishments that were made. Not just for this movie, but for movies that come after it. So more love, more light. Like I said, I appreciate everyone who supported this movie. I appreciate all the fans reaching out. I got love for even the people out there naysaying. I got mad love for you, and I wish you nothing but happiness and success. I wish any of the negativity away or any negative way you've been made to feel, I hope that leaves soon enough and is replaced with happiness. And I hope to see all these people. I hope to see all these people so I can show them love, for their whole body of work and everything. So no funny style with me. I'm real. I'm 100% real. I say what I feel, and this is what I feel. I hope nobody takes it a certain way or people try to twist it up, make it all this negative stuff, because it's not. I'm trying to bring the positivity back in the situation, because it is a positive thing. It's a celebration. You know what I mean? We got our Tupac biopic. Tupac is that kind of dude. He lived so many lives in one short life that really, 5 movies can be made about Tupac. 5. You feel me? This is the first one. Like, people don't get pissed off. Put your money up. Make your version. There's room for it. 20 years went by. Ain't nobody trying to make no movie. 20 years. 20 years. People who are in the film business and have been in the film business for over a decade, still nobody tried to make this movie. But LT Hutton got it done. And then now, when it comes out, then people have something to say about it, or, this, that, and the third. But it's like, hey, you knew. All these things you're talking about, you knew. You could have made the movie. But you didn't. You waited for somebody else. And then when you don't like what they did, you want to discount them. But, you're talking about a handful of opinions versus millions. So, those of y'all that are being supportive and whatnot, we love you and we appreciate you. And, I know Tupac appreciates you from up high, So, many blessings to y'all, and hold it down and just be on the lookout for more stuff. All right? And if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at official Dom Santana, official DOM Santana. I keeps it real on my Instagram page as well. Just about social issues and everything. You know what I mean? So say what's up. Add me. If you got an opinion, shoot it to me. You know what I mean? So holla at you. I'm out.